Hello. So I'm going to take you through a quick canter of the Child Poverty Act, the delivery plan, and the drivers of child poverty as the Scottish Government sees them, some of the programmes that we're taking forward, and then Gavin's going to talk in a bit more detail about the employability policy landscape. And before I begin, just to say a massive thank you to Jim and Emma Congreve and Deborah Hay from Joseph Rowntree Foundation. JRF has really helped Scottish Government to think about child poverty in the detailed and hopefully nuanced and sophisticated way that we have. So thanks very much, Jim, as always. Some of this you'll probably already know, and some of it Jim's already touched on. But our national aspiration in Scotland is to eradicate child poverty. And that ambition was set in statute through the Child Poverty Act 2017. The Act establishes stretching targets to reduce child poverty levels in Scotland by 2030, with interim targets by 2023. And it outlines a framework for action and for monitoring progress. Now, as Jim said, the targets set are very challenging. They require us to lift around 140,000 children out of poverty from current levels, and reducing child poverty rates from around 24% at the moment to 10% in 2030. And the Act also created a new reporting duty requiring local authorities and health boards to jointly produce local child poverty action reports, and the first of these were published in June this year. So our approach is quite a simple one. We published the first Tackling Child Poverty delivery plan in March last year, and we published our first review of progress in June this year. And our plan outlines concrete cross-government action, including the introduction of the new Scottish Child Payment, which is going to be worth £10 per week per eligible child from payment starting at the end of next year. It's going to be a game changer, but action on social security on its own isn't going to be enough. We need to tackle the three drivers of child poverty reduction, not just maximising income through social security, but increasing income from employment and reducing household costs. And indeed, national action ain't going to be enough. We need local delivery too. So the three drivers are outlined in this slide. Employability support is going to be key to meeting the child poverty targets that have been set. And as the diagram shows, there's a range of influences here. Parents face, as Jim said, a number of complex barriers to work, including being able to progress in a job through employment into a proper career. And tailored support is obviously going to be a massive help for that. So in delivering the new parental employment support service, it'll be important to be mindful of these barriers, things like childcare, transport, as Jim said, the skills that parents have, and what the local labour market is looking for. And these are all issues that, of course, you'll all be familiar with in delivering local employability services. So this is a diagram, I suppose, showing how the national policies that have been developed link in across the three drivers. So we've got income from employment, cost of living, and income from social security. And as you can see, they're spread across the three main drivers. And Gavin's going to talk a bit more about some of the employment ones, I am sure. Jim talked about the importance of thinking about equality. And this is, again, recognised in the approach that we have in Scottish Government. So the Tackling Child Poverty delivery plan identified 6 priority family types who are at greatest risk of poverty. And all these groups experience higher rates of poverty and a key focus for government action. So you'll see that 4 in 10 children who live in lone parent households are living in relative poverty. Almost 3 in 10 children, where there's a disabled person in the household, are living in poverty. More than half of children who live with young mothers aged under 25 are in poverty. So these are significant proportions of these groups, and that's why it's so important to take an equality focus in the work that we're doing around employability, but actually across the whole gamut of the work that Scottish Government and local partners are taking forward. The Child Poverty Act, as I said at the start, set a reporting duty on local authorities and health boards to produce annual local child poverty action reports. And these are some of the things that those reports should set out. And it's what the reporting duty is really important to get right. What we need to know from employability activity is the impacts that activity is having, how those programs have been developed, how they're being delivered. So thinking about how many parents have been supported, have they entered work, if so, how much have their earnings increased, have they increased their work hours or their hourly earnings increased as a result of the support that's been given. And the support offered through the new service, the new employability service, should be a concrete feature within the local child poverty action reports, showing the action underway and the impacts that it's been having. So this is my last slide, which in Scottish Government we refer to as the snake. And basically it shows the wide-ranging policies within the plan around giving children the best start in life, supporting children to learn and grow, helping build skills and prepare for work, focusing on affordable housing, fairer working lives, and the whole range of support around social security at the bottom, universal and more targeted benefits too. So it demonstrates that in Scotland, children and families benefit from a strong package of targeted support at each stage of the journey. And in all this, partnership and linking up policies is so important. No one policy will be a silver bullet. So thanks very much for coming today. I hope you have a great day, and I'll hand back to Hannah. Thank you.